Hey everyone, this is Chidori Snake. I'm just here about to go over Soul Calibur 6 with you guys because I am as excited for this game as I'm sure everyone else is, and I'm really curious to delve deep and see what's going on with this game. So what we're gonna do is we're going to just quickly go over. There we go. Quickly go over the extended gameplay preview, which was revealed to us yesterday, and we're going to nitpick, we are going to analyze, we are going to search for every little detail we can on what is in Soul Calibur thus far. So without further ado, let us begin the video. Alright, so first thing off the bat that we've already noticed with the debut trailer is how young the characters look, which means that this could either be a soft reboot or a prequel. Now, I'm more inclined to believe that it will be a prequel for the sole reason that the debut trailer sort of had its announcer say that there is a hidden truth within the game's story. So, with that being said, the only way that I could really see them really exposing that truth is if they were to go back within the same timeline and to clear things up, which could potentially lead into a Soul Calibur game that emphasizes on that change. So with that in mind, that means that there's going to be a bit of a return to form to gameplay. As we can see, the movement looks rather faster, a bit more fluid. Honestly, similar to Soul Calibur 2's movement. Got the full 3D camera going, and as we can see, if you look at the hold on, if I can just get a pause out right there. Right here, we can see that the gauge has returned. I know that a lot of people complained about gauge in Soul Calibur 5, specifically because guard impact required that gauge. So, the thing with gauge in Soul Calibur 6, at least as far as I can tell from this gameplay, is that guard impact will not rely on it. In fact, Mitsurugi performs guard impact several times, as you can see, without the need of any gauge. The only two things that require gauge, as far as we know, are Critical Edge, which has made its return from Soul Calibur 5, as well as Soul Charge, which is new because, while I'm happy that Soul Charge is returning, it's never really needed gauge before. So I'm kind of interested to see exactly how well that plays out. Now, there is also, as I'm sure you guys already know, there's a new mechanic. It's called Reversal Edge. I'm gonna see if I can get any. There you go. So with Reversal Edge, it's basically gonna be like parries in Street Fighter 3. And as far as I know, and the one right there was basically what a Reversal Edge would have looked like had there actually been a hit. 1 second. So around this time, this is when Mitsurugi starts to prepare for a strike. If your opponent strikes while you're ready for them, that will parry. That way you can dodge or you can counterattack, and the counterattacks are a bit cinematic. So we've got two potential cinematic moves that you can perform in this game now, alongside the Critical Edge. Good water. Anyway, so moving on. So we forgot Sophidia and Mitsurugi are the only two returning characters so far. The fact that Sophidia is in the game sort of pushes the envelope that this will be a prequel. And in one of the gameplay trailers, I don't think she performs it in this gameplay preview, but in one of the trailers she performs a Critical Edge that is similar to Patroclus in Soul Calibur 5, which is rather interesting if you ask me. There's a critical edge right there. Of course, as I said before, only thing that one of the two things that require gauge so far. Now, my take on the critical edge mechanic is I don't really mind it. I mean, considering that I'm used to 2D fighting games, I'm kind of used to super moves in fighting games now. I understand that some 3D fighting game purists aren't so keen with that idea, especially with Rage Arts and Tekken 7. But I don't see much of an issue with this as long as it's not an abused mechanic, which I don't really think it has been in Soul Calibur 5. I just think that guard impact needing gauge was the only real flaw in Soul Calibur 5's gauge system. So I'm totally fine with critical edge making a return. It helps the game feel like a step forward rather than a step backwards, if you know what I mean. And the overall feel of Soul Calibur 6 definitely feels like older Soul Calibur, like Soul Calibur 1, Soul Calibur 2. There is also another little detail that's not in this gameplay, but is in one of the debut trailers, and that is the mysterious character with let's see, that's the mysterious character with the double-bladed, I guess, spear or swallow sword or whatever. Now, that could mean one of two things, in my opinion. One, that could be this game's new protagonist, and two, it could be the antagonist of the game. You never know.
Into buying toys for presents for little kids.
So right here, we get to see a bit of reversal edge in action. Just you see Sophia with her overhead, and Mitsurugi will soon answer with a few strikes of his own. Nice parries going over there. Mitsurugi answers and hits with a lethal hit and a ring out. So I know that it's probably gonna seem like a no-duh call to bring back ring outs, but keep in mind, Lost Swords didn't have any ring outs, and that there was a lot of complaints, among other things, about Lost Swords rather, if you know what I mean, because the basics of Lost Swords generally centered around a lot of mechanics that just felt really wonky. So I think if Project Soul was to sort of take that knowledge and that experience and learn from it, this game could definitely become like the next Soul Calibur 2. As long as they build upon what made Soul Calibur 2 successful, what worked in Soul Calibur 5, and just blend those together. And that's, from the sound of it, Okubo-san sounds like that's his main goal, is to blend those two games in particular together to create a fresh yet familiar feel to gameplay. And with the addition of Reversal Edge, it seems like we've got a bit of that fresh feel while still retaining that familiar feel with the speed of combat. So let's move on to a topic that I know everybody has started jumping the gun with, guest characters. Because there's going to be, the game's going to be on multiple platforms. I'm interested to see if there will be universal guest characters, like in Soul Calibur 5, or if they are going to have them based on console, like Soul Calibur 2. Now, if they do go by console, there are several options that I have in mind for guest characters in Soul Calibur 6. For PS4, the most obvious being Cloud Strife, simply because he is the most popular Final Fantasy character for the most popular Final Fantasy game, and he's got a remake coming up, so Namco could most definitely take advantage of that. Also, Lightning or Warrior of Light, also from the Final Fantasy series, would work. If they do add lightning, I would rather see her Lightning Returns costume as her main, and maybe her 13-2 costume as the default, since those two are not as a default but as an alternate, since those two, in my opinion, will fit Soul Calibur's vibe a little more. And but Warrior of Light seems like the best choice, but the most obvious seems like Cloud, just because of how much he has going for him, and because of the fact that Project Soul intended on him being a guest character before, back in like Soul Calibur 2, Soul Calibur 3, but never really went through with it. So this could be their opportunity to do just that. Now for Xbox, honestly, the only character that I had in mind for Xbox was Geralt from The Witcher. It just seems like an obvious pick. He's a guy with a giant sword. I haven't played much of The Witcher other than The Witcher 3, but just going off of that one game, I'm pretty sure that he would make a pretty decent fit with Soul Calibur's vibe, as far as it being, fantasy oriented. And I would honestly love to see how he played. I would love to see how Cloud plays as well, seeing as how he's a giant sword guy. If they do add him, I just hope he's not another Siegfried. And speaking of Siegfried, I haven't really talked much about, other characters that I would expect in this game that aren't guest characters, so I'll get to that in a minute. But before I do, PC, the game is going to be on Steam. So if they do have any PC exclusive characters, the ones that come to mind are mainly World of Warcraft. So like people like Illidan Stormrage, or Arthas, also known as the Lich King, or even Sylvanas. I would love for Sylvanas to make it in. She could easily be the game's first range heavy character, and that kind of would interest me just a little bit, just a little bit more if they went with that route. But honestly, with Illidan being my favorite character coming from World of Warcraft, I would like to see Illidan the most. So with all that being said, character roster. Now, seeing as how this is probably going to end up being a prequel that takes place either during or directly after Soul Calibur 1, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that we'll see the likes of Killick, with his bow staff. Zhangguo and Maxi are likely to return. I would be surprised if they brought in Li Long, since he hasn't been in the game since 3. I would love to see him return. Now, as far as Siegfried goes, if you remember the story of Soul Calibur and Soul Calibur 2 correctly, this is around the time where he possesses the Soul Edge. So it's safe to assume that if Siegfried does end up in this game, it will be as Nightmare, or at least as a variation of Nightmare, just like in Soul Calibur 2. So I wonder if they will actually go with that idea, if they'll give Siegfried the Soul Edge in this game, or if Siegfried and Nightmare will be two separate characters again. We'll just have to see. All I know is that it's entirely likely that Siegfried will become Nightmare again. And if that's the case, then expect to see a lot of what you saw in Soul Calibur 2, with a mix of some of Siegfried's normals, some of Siegfried's moves, with the brutal horizontal and verticals of Nightmare. So, so with that being said, there's still a lot more for this game that has to be revealed. The game is slated for 2018. Which surprises the hell out of me, because I thought for sure they would have at least waited until 2019, considering how late in the year they announced this. But who knows? Maybe they have more planned than we think. So 2018, that's the goal. And guys, I guarantee you this will be a day one pickup for me. So I hope it's the same for you guys. I hope that I provided enough insight, enough information for you guys to sort of decide whether you think this game will succeed or not. I know it's a bit early, considering it was just announced 3 days ago, but just going off of what you see now, do you see this game being a success, and what do you think they can add on to this game? Because there's always room for improvement, and since Soul Calibur 5 is a pretty divisive entry in the series, I would really like to see what the community thinks about 6 and how 6 will feel and play, and you know, if it garners any of their interest after 5. So just let me know what you guys think, and we'll keep the discussion going for sure, and I will do my best to update on any further news regarding Soul Calibur 6 as well as other games. So, with that being said, this is Cherry Snake. See you guys in the next video.